Hi everyone, my name is Salisagur. Welcome to my channel osgroup-techies. DevOps is all about collaborations, and what better example than Git. So Git is a distributed version control system and it helps us to collaborate. Today's video is all about what it takes to have your own Git server running on your local. So get your own Git server running on your local in no time. And to give you a sneak peek on what we are going to do today in this video, we are going to provision 3 containers, one of them being the Git server and other 2 being the clients. We're going to have a data view from a server side as well as from a client side. So the script here, one-liner bash script, will get me 3 containers running. And just to give you what is LC over here, LC is an alias I have written that points to LXC launch Ubuntu 16.04. By default, when you use LC, it is going to provision me 16.04. As we can see, we have 3 containers provisioned. We can see this by LXC list. We have to choose one of them to be a Git server. Let's choose this star snapper to be a Git server. We go inside the container by doing LXC exec star snapper. We also check if we have Git installed. Yeah, so now it's time to create our own repository. So it's similar to creating your repository on your GitHub. So we do make-dir osgroup-techies.git. We go inside it and we initialize this repository, a bare repository, as we don't have any data in it. So we are done with creating a repository. We exit the container now. Control D. Again we list the containers just to know the names. Okay, the second step here now is we have to have a DNS name mapped to the container and have this DNS name available to the other 2 containers. So let's make this available to the first container named guided ghost. Let's go inside it, go to etc host and have this mapping IP map to the name git osgroup-techies.com be the DNS name which we want for our Git server. Let's do ns lookup and check if we have our changes reflected. We can see we have our changes reflected and it's pointing to the correct IP. Now let's do the same thing to the another container, third container in this case. It is central udoc. We go inside it. We go into the file etc host file and we do the mapping. So we have second step done. We have made our DNS available. Now we want to go and initialize the project. For example, let's say we have our guided ghost to be a project manager and he wants to initialize the project. So let's do one more thing. Let's add a user with some name. In this case, I'm taking the name of a container, and so that it becomes easier for us to understand. So please forgive. You can create it by your own. You can give your own password for this. Yeah. So since we are not going to use a password based authentication, we are going to use passwordless authentication. We are going to create a key pair. So one public and private key pair, and then we are going to make 2 clients communicate to the one server, Git server, in our case being star snapper, without password. So how do we do that? So now let's create a key pair. We do that by sss-keygen. And when we are done with this, we have our key pair created in .sss folder. Let's copy our public key from idrac pub. We copy it from here and we put it in the .ssh authorized keys on the Git server. So in our case, being star snapper, let's open a file .ssh authorized keys and paste it over here. Yeah. So we do WQ, close the file. We got to do the same thing for our third container called central woodcock. So we go inside the container LXC exec, name of the container woodcock and shell. So now we add a user. So in this case we use add user. It is user add in RPM based machines. So yeah, so not to worry about what password you are putting in. Since we are not going to use it, we are going to use key value pair. We create a key value pair again here. We do that by using sss-keygen and we do the same thing. We copy the public key from here and put it on our Git server. So we go over here. Yeah, we do up arrow and we append it. So now we are making sure that we are able to communicate. I mean, our two clients are able to communicate with the Git server. Now the third step, let's go to the second container, that being our first client. Let's copy the name, Alexi exec, container name. Oops, sorry, I had public key over here. Yeah, so we change the user. We do sudo su ghost, guided ghost. Yeah, so let's assume that guided ghost is a guy who is actually initializing or creating a container creating a project for the first time. So make sure that your name of the repo which you created and which you are making here remains the same. Yeah, one more thing we want to make sure that we want to just go in the repository which we created on the server and check what objects we have. So since tree is not installed, let's not use tree. Since as you can see in git objects file folder, we didn't have anything, so because we didn't push anything. So now we are back to the guided ghost. Let's create two files, a file called license, another file name called readme.md. Git config. Yeah, so we have to configure our user and email because that's the first timer. So we do by using git config -global user.name, name of the user. In this case, it's a guided ghost, and we do the same thing for email. User.git config -global user.email guided ghost at osgroup-techies.com. So that being our email. You can use your own user name and email configurations. So let's see git status. We added to the stash. We do git log. We don't have anything committed, so we don't get any git log. Now we commit. So we do that git commit -m. We type a git commit message. That in my case I am doing a feature. I'm doing hash summary and just giving a small message. So you can use your own practice of writing a commit message. It's committed. So guys, do you think we should be able to push now because we are done committing? I think no, because we don't have any remote added, or since we didn't clone it. So we're going to add a remote over here. So git remote add, and name of the remote being origin. And let's as we remember, we had a root user configured we have a root user of the git server configured. So root add, and the domain name is git.osgroup-techies.com colon the project name which we created, that was osgroup-techies.git, not .com. Yeah, so we have a remote added. Now we should be able to push. So we did git push origin master. We have our first changes pushed by guided ghost. So let's go ahead and check on the server. We can see three extra folders created. Let's check the commit ID. We have this commit ID. One more thing to remember is that when on the git server you have your folder created on the two initials of the commit ID. So you can go ahead and go inside that, and if you want to check the content, you just git cat file, and the total commit ID which was already present over there. Oops, we have to use -p option. Yeah, as you can see, it is pointing to a tree, and there is another. It is pointing to another commit ID. It's a SHA. So let's go ahead and check what it is over there. So we go ahead, get cat file, and then you can see this is the actual SHA where we have our two files, and there is no point in checking the content of these two files because it is already empty. Yeah, so now we have our project initialized. We have pushed it to repo. Now we want another developer, central cog, to go ahead and clone the repo and push its changes. Yeah, so we go inside, we do Alexi exec central dog. We already are in. We just do clone, git clone. So it's the same URL. It should be which we already added in the remote origin. So this is for the first time it asks you to add as a known host. We can go ahead and see, we can see we have 2 files over here, and we can see the commit, latest commit. So now we go ahead and add a license information over here, and also add a readme content. Yeah, so we are done adding. We can check to get diff to check differences. Now we add the changes to stage. Yeah, so since before committing I want to configure the user for this container, this user also. So we do it by using git config fn global user.name and name of the user, and likewise user.email for email. Yeah, now we commit, we give a good commit message, git commit -m. So this is the first fix I am applying. It's a fix for fix, and small summary on what it is there inside my change. Now we push. So in this case we don't need to add origin because we have origin added since we cloned it. We do git log, we check the latest commit, the initials being 24. Let's remember that. Let's pull the changes in our guided ghost. We do it by git pull origin master. We can see the latest changes. We do git log, and we can see the latest changes in both the machines. Yeah, now let's go to the server. Let's go to the server. Let's go ahead and check in git objects folder. We have so many folders created. So we remember we had a commit ID with the initial called 24, and we want to check what it is there. So it stores the relations. So now when you check this, it should be pointing to the older commit ID with its parent. As you can see, its parent is 9f. This is the first commit ID, and it's a tree. So let's go ahead and check what is there inside this tree. So we go inside and we check with 2 initials. It creates a folder with 2 initials. When you go inside, we can see there are 2 files. So let's go and see the content. Git cat file -p, and yeah, so we can see whatever we pushed over here, it is stored as a text. Yep. So that's it for this, guys. It was an example, a small example to show you how it looks.